In January this year, American Vice President J.D. Vance spoke at a security conference in Munich and took the opportunity to criticize Romania for cancelling its December elections.
As I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections. If your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
How did Romania's election become a talking point for the Trump administration? Did digital advertising on social media really upend a democratic election? Was Russia meddling in the election? I'm Rowan, and in this episode of BBC Trending, we're investigating how TikTok campaigns allegedly derailed an election. In December, the Constitutional Court of Romania annulled the first round of presidential elections after the surprise victory of far-right candidate Călin Georgescu. The votes are being recast in May, but Georgescu has been banned from running. He was also detained on charges including setting up an organisation with fascist, racist or xenophobic characteristics. He denies the charges, and he's accused the authorities of inventing evidence to justify stealing the election. How did this happen? It all started weeks before the election when TikTok was flooded with videos by Romanian influencers describing the qualities they were looking for in the next president. Though many had already deleted their videos or profiles, I contacted 47 influencers who had used hashtags implicated in the campaign.
I was among the first to post. I think there were only 2 or 3 other people who posted before me. The scripts followed broadly the same theme. The only difference was the way each person tailored their script.
This is Oana Marocico. He's a Protestant minister and a micro-influencer on TikTok. This is the video he posted before the election with the hashtag stability and integrity.
On the 24th of November, we are electing our next president. We need to make sure Romania gets a leader who can bring stability and progress.
Other influencers across the country posted a similar video using the same hashtags. Romeo and 4 others I've spoken to were paid to make their videos after responding to an advert on an influencer marketing platform called FameUp. Crucially, they didn't know who the client behind the campaign was. And importantly, the brief from FameUp, which they and 2 other influencers showed us, did not instruct them to mark the content as paid. This is against TikTok rules, where paid political advertising is banned. We asked FameUp for their response to the allegation they had encouraged influencers not to include a tag for paid content in the campaign. They didn't respond to our questions. As soon as the post went live, something strange began to happen.
Right after I posted the video, I think within a few seconds, I already started receiving dozens of comments. In the end, I believe I received around 300 comments, all backing the independent candidate Călin Georgescu. I looked at what was going on, checked out some of the accounts. They seemed to be real. This social movement on TikTok was very active, actually very strong in favor of Georgescu. I was absolutely surprised by this.
Many Romanians, like Romeo, had never heard of Călin Georgescu until he went viral a few weeks before the first round of the elections in November. Initial polls in Romania presented him as a marginal candidate, expected to get 3 to 5% of the vote. He's a pro-Russian vaccine skeptic who's spoken in support of Romania's historical fascist leaders. He ran as an independent candidate, claiming to have 0 campaign budget and relying instead on his TikToks, where he rides horses in traditional Romanian outfits and practices judo. He's vocal in his critiques of NATO and of supporting Ukraine. Georgescu did barely any media interviews before the election and didn't engage in traditional campaigning, but his popularity soared on TikTok. An independent think tank, Expert Forum, published a report saying Georgescu's explosive rise on TikTok was created suddenly and artificially, consistent with the way he exploded in the polls.
With more than 99% of the votes counted in the first round of Romania's presidential election, a far-right pro-Russia candidate has taken the lead. Călin Georgescu has an unassailable lead of more than 300,000 votes. He has no political party and is known as the TikTok candidate.
Then the news came. The election was cancelled. Supporters of Georgescu were shocked, and protests erupted around the country. Here they're chanting, "The thieves, the thieves, the thieves," in reference to the election that in their view was stolen from them. The cancellation came after the Constitutional Court published declassified documents alleging that foreign interference had impacted the election. In the declassified documents, Romeo was one of 12 influencers identified as being involved in the campaign.
I felt I was being treated unfairly. Why was I on that list? I didn't get involved in any way directly with any of the candidates on their campaigns.
Then came a twist in the story. In January, the Romanian tax authority identified the National Liberal Party as the sponsors of the Fame Up campaign. Journalists at Romania's leading investigative outlet, Snoop, published the story. The editor of Snoop, Razvan Luțac, told me that the Liberal Party claimed their original advert was hijacked by a pro-Georgescu campaign.
The day after we published this story, this investigation, the company which made the payments filed a criminal complaint for hijacking the campaign. They still haven't been able to explain why they didn't took this step immediately after it happened.
Razvan explained that Romanians, and not just Georgescu supporters, were frustrated by the lack of transparency about why the election was cancelled.
It had a big impact, I think, because in that days after the elections, the Romanians were waiting for a response from the from the authorities. Nobody was telling the people anything. I think the people they needed these responses before the first round of elections.
To understand what the declassified documents said, I spoke to Victoria Alari, a researcher at the Digital Forensic Research Lab.
The declassified documents released by the Romanian Supreme Council of National Defense in December claimed that a foreign state actor, strongly implied to be Russia but didn't name it, orchestrated a hidden campaign to push a far-right candidate, Călin Georgescu. They said that this wasn't just a random meddling, but a big organized effort using social media, undisclosed money, the cyber attacks to trick the election's results. For example, they flagged a network of 25,000 TikTok accounts, many dormant since 2016, that suddenly woke up on November to spam Georgescu's content. Basically, they said someone outside Romania was pulling strings to make Georgescu look like a grassroots star when he wasn't.
One of the documents declassified by the Romanian government says that Romania is a target for aggressive Russian hybrid attacks, including cyber attacks, leaks, and sabotage. None of this provides an undeniable link to Russia that could help to justify to the public why the election was cancelled. One commentator in Romania described to me how ordinary people are feeling disappointed. Some have said that the authorities are using the scarecrow of Russia to annul the election. So what do we know about the allegations of foreign interference? In January, TikTok announced that they removed a network of over 27,000 accounts attempting to promote the far-right AUR party and Georgescu. According to TikTok, these inauthentic accounts use fictitious personas to post comments related to the Romanian elections rather than videos. TikTok told me that this network was based in Turkey, according to the IP addresses, and that it was operated through a fake engagement vendor. The European Commission is investigating whether TikTok has violated the Digital Services Act by failing to tackle foreign interference. So far, no concrete evidence of Russian involvement has been shared publicly by the authorities. However, Recently, Romanian journalists at G4 Media reported that official documents from the prosecutor's office say that inauthentic TikTok accounts based in Turkey were registered with email addresses by Russian provider Rambler.ru. The prosecutor's office declined to comment to the BBC on these claims. Victoria's research doesn't focus on Russian interference. Instead, it examines a Telegram channel that coordinated Georgescu supporters on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Telegram acted like a secret headquarters for this campaign. Our research found a key channel called Propagator. It was a hub where organizers shared ready-made videos and instructions, like a playbook for people to post on TikTok and other platforms. They would tell users exactly what to upload, when to post, and how to edit the content so it wouldn't get flagged as a spam or identified as a part of coordinated campaigns.
We don't know who was running the Propagator Telegram channel. According to Victoria, they exploited TikTok's algorithm.
In short, they gamed it. TikTok system loves engagement, likes, shares, comments, so they flooded it with coordinated posts from thousands of accounts. They also use tricks like timing posts together and personalizing them to avoid detections, also commenting on different accounts that were not related to Georgescu. And this tactic pushed efforts to ensure Georgescu's name was frequently recommended in TikTok's search bar as a trending topic.
What Victoria has told me helps explain how flooding the Fame Up campaign with comments could have contributed to Georgescu's meteoric rise on TikTok. The more mentions he got, the more pro-Georgescu content ended up being in people's feeds. So, the activity organised on Telegram, combined with the inauthentic commenting network from Turkey, contributed to Georgescu going viral. There is one last piece of the puzzle that we know about.
Also, the Romanian intelligence in this decision, they said that one user even paid to influencers to push this stuff on TikTok. He was donating this money through lives on TikTok from this guy called Bogdan Peschir.
Bogdan Peschir was known across Romania by his TikTok handle, BogPR. In March, the Romanian police arrested Peschir for corrupting voters through electronic means of communication, and they detained him. The prosecution is reported to have claimed that hundreds of thousands of dollars were sent by BogPR to over 250 influencers to induce them to vote for a certain candidate. Peschir's lawyers say he didn't give anyone money to support anyone. This is a song by musician and TikTok influencer Lucian LG. He's a Manila musician, which is a genre of pop folk music with roots in the Roma community. Several high-profile Manila musicians have been accused of taking payments from BogPR to campaign for Georgescu.
My name is Lucian. I'm a singer, but right now for more than 5 years, I'm doing TikTok.
Lucian was named in the press as one of 13 influencers who received over $10,000 from Peschir and was the only one who agreed to speak on the record. While some of these influencers have been reported to have supported Georgescu online, Lucian says he didn't. We can't check that though, as his TikToks, along with those by others who are paid by BogPR, have been removed. He described to me what happened when Peschir first started sending him gifts, worth real money, via TikTok.
First time when I see him, it was in a super mega ultra live. He's coming from nowhere with tons of TikTok universe.
A TikTok universe costs over $500.
It was a surprise for me and for everybody because nobody comes and sends you thousands. Who is this guy? The name was BogPR.
BogPR is a mysterious character. I've tried to speak with him since December, but he hasn't responded to requests for interview.
Second time in that evening is coming on my life and throw again a lot of gifts. When was this happening? before elections. It was in November for sure.
Romanian media has reported on a leaked document from the prosecutor's office, which lists Lucian as having been paid over $15,000 by Peșcir. The prosecutors did not comment when we asked them to verify the document.
I can confirm that. If I remember well, TikTok is getting 70% payoff, how is it called? So if you send me 100 euros, for me, I am taking only 30.
Lucian did confirm to us that he received around $5,000, close to 30% of the number in the leaked document. Previous BBC reporting has shown TikTok keeps up to 70% of all donations on lives. Lucian claims he didn't post anything in support of any of the candidates, but experienced a wave of comments in support of Georgescu.
It was madness. In every single post, you received comments like Georgescu president. They almost put a president with this fake news and manipulation. TikTok must do something, and all the social platforms must do something about politics.
A TikTok spokesperson told me that
during the 2024 presidential campaign in Romania, we blocked millions of fake engagement attempts, removed hundreds of thousands of spam accounts, prevented impersonation of political candidates, and disrupted 3 covert influencer networks with limited reach.
TikTok didn't respond to my questions about the money in influencers' accounts that were paid by BogPR and then closed down. While Romania heads back to the polls to elect a new leader, the investigations continue. Razvan, the editor of Snoop, is patiently waiting for the authorities to fully expose what happened.
We have these small pieces now, like a puzzle, and I think that maybe in a year or 2 years we will have a complete image of why they cancelled the elections.
That's it for this episode of BBC Trending from the BBC World Service with me, Rowan Ings. The producer was Georgiana Tudor. Thanks also to Oana Marocico, Gareth Jones for mixing this episode, and BBC Trending editor Flora Carmichael.